Well, good morning, kids, and all you grasshoppers that like to tag along. So, I'm waiting for the sun to get up high enough to illuminate one of those peaks out there. It's, if you can see it, there's two peaks here. You gotta get out there, be able to see it. There you go. So the peak right in between there's there's the ridge, it goes up, and then you see the bump in the on the left, and then there's a little valley, and then there's another little peak right in the middle of the picture, and then another peak to its right, and then there's the long peak on the right side. So that little peak right there in the middle, there's a peak right underneath it. You probably can't see it, but it's darker than the other one, and I mean it's almost directly right below it. But that peak in the morning sun illuminates, as in it'll look like you can see the sunshine glistening off of it. It'll look like a door of light. It's really a trip. And so I had been looking at this from my last campsite, which had, I think, a little bit better angle, maybe, to be able to see the light shining off of whatever face of that peak was in front. And so I don't know if it's going to do it here. I might be at the wrong angle to see it, but I'm fairly certain that it's desert patina on the rock, which makes the rocks shiny when the light hits it. And not to be confused with a crystal. So it's not that there's a big crystal hanging out on that peak. It had been gone a long time ago, but it's probably desert patina on a like flat side of a boulder or something like that, right? And it lights up. It's pretty cool. But anyway, so I wanted to get out I was out yesterday doing the same thing. And if you will, there's the back of my truck. You see the Torah on board. And then to the left of it is the menorah flag. That's the Messianic flag. Above it is the Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh in the Mezorite vowel pointings, which are an abomination. Anyway, and then there is the round decal is the Army decal, and right below it is the castle of the engineers, and that's what I was in the Army, a combat engineer, castle keeper. That's why I think I'd be a pretty good doorkeeper in the house of my Yah. But anyway, so what I really wanted to show you is this. So in the early morning, like right after the sun comes up like this, you can now see the things in the desert in like a stark contrast, right? So now you can really see the farmhouse down there with the two little lights or light spots to the left and right. The left is the southern facing wall of another building, and the right is that farm's water tower that they collect water from the river, goes into their little filtration kind of thing, tank, and then that's pumped out to the fields that you see in front of it. Then you can really, I hope you can, but you know, I don't have a really good zoom, but you can see the Cibola wildlife refuge, you know, because the wildlife have to have a refuge from the humans. So, you know, let's leave these trees here for the wildlife, you know. They got to have a place to stay too. Sorry. But, and you can really see Castle Peak, as I call it. It's getting a little hazy now, but it'll burn off just in a little bit, and it'll be really distinct. Like you know, you'll be able to see the three towers really clearly. But anyway, yeah. So it's kind of a hazy morning today. So it was bright and clear yesterday, and I forgot to turn on the. I forgot to tap the record button, you know, like old donkeys do. So, yeah, today's not as good. It's too hazy actually, but I wanted to record something because I missed recording it yesterday. But yesterday you could see those haystacks. They were just like, you know, tan buildings. You can see the size of them and stuff. And then of course over here you can see better the gap. The mountain that's in the front on the left is actually south of the mountain ridge that you see in the back, and that's called the what is that thing called? Well, it's some kind of gap. I forget the name of it, but it comes up out of Palm Springs, and then comes, you know, you go west on I-8, and you climb up into those mountains, and come over the gap, and that's where the windmills are, and hundreds and hundreds of windmills right there, and you know, if not thousands. It's just, it looks like a forest of windmills. And because the wind comes up off the ocean, of course, goes across LA County, comes out to Riverside County, through Palm Springs, and then blows up over the gap and comes into this valley. And it was really blowing yesterday. Or no, 2 days ago. But yesterday was pretty bad too. But hopefully today the wind won't come up. But anyway, that's the direction of Blythe right over there. It's right at the end of that mountain ridge. And we can't actually see the buildings or anything because that flat area is the plateaus, the starting of the plateaus that are on the eastern side of the Colorado River. That's where on top of one of those plateaus is the some group of they're geoglyphs, and there was a tribe in the area, or a people. Actually, the tribes that are in this area now on the reservations don't know who did these geoglyphs, and there's actually 2 locations of them. One up north of I-10, and this one down here, and so that's why they call it this group. I think it's the Riley group. Yeah, it's the Riley group of they call them tagalongs, something, I don't know, some word, you know, scientists came up with. You know, the ones with PhDs. So anyway, I know I'm such a old man. But anyway, kids. So I was looking at this yesterday. I got in. Oh, there you go. There's a there's one of the probably. I think that's probably a fifth wheel and trailer. Yeah, it looks like it. Anyway, if it's really really clear and just crystal clear, you can see the semi trucks, and they because the highway is all the way over, almost near the bottom of that ridge, and so you can see them traveling across these little slivers of white moving across the desert floor, and that's the highway. And then the truckers, they come down through Ehrenberg and Blythe, and then they use that highway 78 to go over the gap that's right there. So there's a ridge right there to the left, and there's a little peak at the end of it, and then there's a peak right in the middle of that saddle, and then there's a real large peak on the right. Beyond that large peak to the south is Glamis, where the sand dunes are. And you drive through there, you think you're driving through the Sahara Desert, because it's nothing but sand dunes. It's just beautiful. And Glamis is a little. It's not even a town. It's a store that's out there that started in the 70s, and then it got really big in the 80s and established. But it's kind of like a community where the off-roaders go, and so the sand dune off-roaders. So you have the buggies and the bikes with the motorcycles with the paddle wheels on the back, and you just see them racing up the sand dunes and doing big brodies on the lips of the dunes. It's pretty cool. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. I've done that kind of stuff on my 3-wheeler when I was in my late teens, and so yeah, that's Glamis, and then you go through Glamis and then down into the Imperial Valley. This is the Blythe Valley, but it's in Imperial County. But anyway, yeah, you go down into the Imperial Valley where the Salton Sea is, and the Salton Sea is actually almost as long as from that peak all the way to that all the way probably to that peak, but of course west of all these mountain ridges, but down in the valley. But the Salton Sea is right there. Geographically, and of course the highway goes into Brawley, which is just north of which is a city just north of kind of northeast of El Centro, and so the truckers will go. Yeah, you can see them right there. If you see a little white dot, 2 of them moving across the desert right now, right where the trees are. See it just go right by the tree right there. That's a semi truck, and they use that highway to get down into Yuma and into El Centro, and they also go because that's I-8. They'll hook up on I-8 and go into San Diego, and that way they don't have to go down to Phoenix as they come out of Nevada and I-40 going north, and so the truckers use these little 2-lane highways to get down south between the major highways of I-40 in the north up by Lake Havasu, and then I-10, which is right over here, that goes through Blythe and Ehrenberg. Ehrenberg's the town on the other side of the river, on I-10, and then down south, of course, is Highway 8, and that of course goes out to Phoenix, goes through Yuma and out to Phoenix, goes through El Centro and all that. Once you get down in the Imperial Valley, out of San Diego County. So yeah, and you hear the donkey, or not, the coyotes. I have not seen one coyote yet. Hear them. I hear this stuff every morning, every evening. Every evening they start calling out to each other to gather up and go find some dinner. And I guess in the morning they're saying good night because they're going to bed down for the day, and in their dens, because there's humans around. Basically, I think. I don't know if so the beaver in the West, particularly up in the Northwest, was almost decimated by trappers, because they had to have their pelt top caps up in New York. so they were almost decimated and wiped out. And what saved them is they became nocturnal, and were only around in the night, and it's kind of why the trappers had to go to traps instead of just shooting them, because they'd just decimated the population of beavers. And so the coyotes, I think, are similar, where before too much human activity, because the tribes were here, but they weren't nothing like today, right? And all the human activity. So once the Europeans came in and started killing them for killing their, because they saw a cow and said, "Hey, dinner," or sheep or something like that. It's the desert's answer to wolves. There's no wolves out here. And anyway, so the coyotes, they're all over. They're a survivor. Woo, man, our coyotes a survivor species. It's just amazing what they have survived with the onslaught of human activity and human predation, because they survive inside big cities. They're all over San Diego, You don't leave your cat out because it's going to be dinner, So I kind of wonder if it's the same situation where once their populations, I got me a that blur was actually low battery, so I probably have to cut this off. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to show you the morning of the desert, and see if this peak would actually light up, but it doesn't. I'm not sure if it did. Let's see. Too much glare. Yeah, I don't know. I think it might be at the wrong angle now, because these rocks with desert patina on them, they're actually really shiny black. But if you open up the rock, it could be cream, or it could be red, it could be brown, or even green. But the sun just bakes the outside and puts this what's called desert patina on them, and but they become shiny, and it's really tough. There's no like it. Nobody came out here and buffed them all. But they're just they're just shiny naturally. It's such a trip to see them. It's actually kind of frustrating too, because you think you found a crystal, and then if you could see those spots, those shiny spots on the ground right there, are the rocks that have desert patina on them, right? So you think, oh man, it's shining. Hey, maybe it's crystal. Then you walk up to it and you're like, oh darn, it's only desert patina. So maybe some agate hunting today. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but oh, here we go. Got the fireplace, fire barrel, fire pit all set up. Had a nice little fire last night, and yeah, I just love sitting next to the fire, but that drum was over there, and I moved it over here because this is a much better place for it. And so anyway, I'm going to jump back into the old travel trailer and say adieu to you, mon chers, and you grasshoppers. Have a good day. Adios.